Max here. Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
We're excited to have you here with Ascend and starting your practice here with us as a therapist. So just trying to get into it. Let's talk about why you decided to pick therapy, where you're from, your biggest fears, most embarrassing moments.
Yeah,
Yeah?
for sure.
So where are you from?
Born in Utah, raised in California, back in Utah. So
Okay.
Not one of those California people, but a little bit.
You were here first.
Yeah.
You're good.
I have a birthright.
The city of St. George will still accept you.
Yeah.
Just not St. George word of mouth Facebook
Yeah.
page. Don't tell them you're from California.
Exactly.
So what got you into therapy? What made you want to start that?
Yeah. For me, it was actually my own therapy experience. I went through a tough time and actually didn't have an experience that I liked with a therapist.
Oh, wow.
I felt like didn't feel like. What happened was I talked about things that were important to me, kind of my own beliefs, my religious beliefs, my personal beliefs, and the therapist kind of threw it out and told me that I was wrong, and it was the weirdest experience I ever had. So
Really?
I hated it, and I said, I'm going to fix this. So kind of right then and there decided I wanted to jump into the therapy world and be the therapist I wish I had. So
what a cool mindset versus writing off therapy and being a victim. It's like, no, I'll do better.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So where'd you go to school?
I got my bachelor's in family life human development at BYU in Provo.
Nice.
And then right next door went to UVU for my master's in social work in Orem.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how long have you been practicing for?
I've been a therapist for about 2 years, helping people. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And just relocated here to St. George?
Yes, my wife's family's from down here, and I've grown up coming here and loving it. So we made the move, and
You'll never leave now.
I
Once
know.
You're here.
We're stuck.
Yeah. Same with my wife and I, 2009, and never left. So
Yeah.
it's hot in the summer, but I'll take it over 4 months of winter.
Yeah,
Any
I agree.
day.
Yeah, just hop in water and you're fine.
Yeah.
So.
So obviously you're here working with us at Ascend.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like to see as far as like your typical demographic?
Yeah, I've worked a lot with people who struggle with anxiety or anxious thoughts, and a lot of men's issues, whether that's pornography or just life circumstances. A little bit of helping people in the realm of anxiety, also OCD, and then do some couples therapy as well.
Great.
Yeah.
You like couples?
Yeah.
It's always different.
People.
You're the second person I've interviewed today that's like, I love couples, and everybody before that was like, no thanks.
Yeah.
So
I'm weird. I'm built different, I guess. But
well, and it's interesting because couples tend to tell these narratives in their head that are so false sometimes and stem from insecurities, and it's probably hard to navigate through that sometimes when you've got both of them doing the same thing towards each other.
Right.
But what a valuable asset to kind of plug yourself in and go, guys, we're telling false narratives here, right? Like, let me help you navigate through what's truth.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing like people struggle with the most right now? Like just as a society or just even your clientele?
Yeah, I feel like just with kind of where the world's headed, not really for anyone's fault, I feel like we're just a more connected society through internet and everything, and kind of you can't really avoid it. Yeah. But I feel like we're getting out of touch with what's actually important to us. It's really easy to coast and to just be blown by the wind. And like I said, it's not that people aren't they're not choosing to do that, but it kind of happens.
Yeah.
And so I see a lot of people that come in and say, I'm doing the things, I'm going to work, I have a family, I'm doing what I can, but I just feel a little bit hollow or empty, or noticing some like thoughts lingering of what I could be doing better, or what I wish my life could be like. And so a big problem I notice is just that disconnect from what makes you, what's important to you, and that's a big thing that I feel
almost like they're disassociated a little bit from being present and engaged. It's like you said, going through the motions.
Yeah. And a lot of people, when you hear that word disassociated or like separated from something, you think like, oh, I'm clocked out or I'm passed out. Like that's what you think. But sometimes it's just that autopilot of regular life, everyday things that are good and important, but if it's not connected to something that's important to you or your why behind it, then it's easy to feel kind of aimless and a little bit hollow.
So what are you seeing that helps with that? Like what are some typical things that you would recommend for somebody that's like, man, I'm just not doing what I know I should be, but I can't break out of this cycle?
Yeah, for sure. I don't want it to make it sound too simple, because obviously we fall into patterns and it's hard to get out of patterns, but I do think a lot of it stems back to just like calling a spade is what I say a lot of times in therapy. It just, let's identify what's actually going on instead of cutting corners or pretending it's something that it's not. If someone comes in and they're like, I feel really stuck, part of solving the problem is labeling the problem. So being able to say like, oh, I don't get enough sleep, or I don't have this going on, or I love my wife, but our relationship's a little tough right now with communicating. So first thing I would say is the most helpful thing is call a spade. Let's identify that problem, and then let's figure out what makes you happy. And obviously people have different interpretations of what that means, and it sounds pretty simplistic to be like, well, just do what makes you happy. But that doesn't always mean you have to change your life. It's let me reconnect with my why. Kind of like I was saying earlier. So just if I'm going to work, instead of letting work drive me, I'm going to say I go to work because showing up for my family is important, or I help a lot of people at work, or even if it's a job where you kind of have to grind it out, being able to say I go to work and I grind it out because it serves its purpose in my life. And so reconnecting it back to that is huge for managing those things.
Do you feel like making a conscious effort to have some sort of human connection like helps people stay a little bit more grounded and present? Like I've said this, I don't know how many times on here, but like I feel like relationships are the most important thing. I've always believed that. There's nothing more valuable. I don't care if you have the worst job in the world. If you got awesome coworkers that you're just in there suffering with, like it helps, right? Like you'll stick it out. And it's because of that human connection. And I do feel like we're losing that a little bit with just, constantly being on our phone and the compulsion of, in the middle of a conversation, like, and we all know how important oxytocin is, right? And like that human connection for those neural pathways. But I'd be curious to know, like, from a therapist standpoint, how do you integrate that into, some tools for people that are struggling with that?
Totally, yeah. It's the cheesy things you hear the couples therapists say, and not to be one of those people, but to be one of those people, eye contact is huge. And so just together time with people is so important. I realize we are in that digital world, so it's harder, but instead of defaulting to texting, maybe calling is like a good midway of like, I can hear someone's voice, I can hear that they're mad at me, or I can hear that they're happy to hear from me. Just that personal touch is so big, and with time, I think we get caught up thinking that the way to combat this digital world or combat this lack of connection, I feel, means I have to go on a month-long camping trip with these people, or I have to plan something extensive. It doesn't always have to be that. It could just be intentional small moments of reconnecting with people. So like when I see couples, I'll tell them a lot of times, like, it doesn't mean you have to do a date night every single night and find a babysitter or whatever, but just being able to check in, put your phone down for a second and just eye to eye say, hey, how are you doing? Or I missed you today, or whatever that is. Just that face-to-face talking. I honestly think it doesn't even have to be crazy. Just talking is a big one.
My wife and I found one thing that was really helpful for us is as soon as we walk in the door, wherever it's from, our phone's in our pocket. We're not on the phone with somebody, or we're not texting, hey, how's it going, as we come in, like. And for us, it's the first person we have an interaction with is each other. Like, I know it's really hard sometimes to like want to run in and grab your kids or whatever, especially when they're little. But like for us, we go to each other first, like, and make that connection, because I don't think either one of us ever want to feel like we've we're neglecting each other, and it gets really easy to do that as
sure.
mom and dad. And so we try to put husband and wife first. But that was one thing we both noticed was like, you know, she'd come in on the phone with her mom, or, you know, still dealing with a work call, or I'd be texting, and it's like, that's not the interactions we want to have. So I don't know if that's, you know, something that helps a lot of people, but it definitely was something that helped us.
Totally. Yeah.
So,
that's a big one, and how awesome that you were able to figure that out for yourself.
Well, working here I think helps a lot. I just have like 60 therapists that I get to pick from, depending on what kind of crisis I'm in at the time, you know?
Yeah. I love that. And just real quick, another point on that is it's so easy, like everything you mentioned, those are good things. It's not like that's wrong or bad, but it's just reconnecting with the why, the what's important. And so maybe your wife's not trying to tell you that you're not important. She legitimately has a work call or families, things going on. But without that intentional pause moment, it's easy to get caught up. And so I love that check-in moment. It's not that the phone call is not important or things don't need to get done, but you're prioritizing what message am I sending, intentional or unintentional, and how can I take responsibility and send a message that I actually want to send.
Yeah. And I feel like just that intentional connection, and even spontaneous touch, like whether it's just scratching the back or just a hug or something, sometimes you don't realize how much you need that until it happens. And you're like, oh my gosh, like thank you. Like I didn't quite realize I needed just a nice little back scratch for a minute, you know, and it feels great. And it makes me kind of sad to think about there's people that aren't getting that at all, that are just very recluse, sitting in their room, especially teenagers, right? Like
totally.
They're kind of out of that little kid phase. They've developed some independency, but maybe their friendships are very surface level, or everything's very digital, and you see them struggling, right? Like, and they start telling these narratives in their head, and they don't have any actual present reaffirmation that is saying, you know, that you're okay. They're just literally reclused in their room, and in a digital world, and it makes me really sad to think that that's what, you know, a lot of these kids are struggling with right now. Are you seeing kind of a pendulum swing though? Because like my wife's vice principal.
Oh, that's cool.
And I hear her, you know, all the rules with cell phones at school now, and you know, obviously they're in legislation, bell to bell, no phones. At the schools here in Washington County, which I think is great. But are you seeing it from a parent standpoint or couple standpoint, where parents are like, we're not doing social media, you know, until this age, or we're not doing phones? Like, are you seeing a little bit of a course correction there?
Yeah, I mean, in therapy you see everything, and so I've seen all of it. But yeah, something that is happy for me to see is these parents are more aware, and I think just as we learn more, the knowledge readiness that people are aware of is so huge. And parents are aware of the negative side effects for social media, and the biggest thing is just at that age it's hard to be intentional with your social media use, especially when you're so young and you don't know what's going on, and your brain's developing. And I'm fairly young, and so research is coming out and showing that for men, their brains don't develop until they're around 26, I think. So even then, your brain's still developing. But it is good to see that parents are aware of the kind of effects of social media, or even just technology use itself.
That's awesome. So before we close, I always like to ask this question. There's always a stigma surrounding therapy, like I don't want to see a shrink, I don't want to go see a therapist, I don't need to be told what I'm doing wrong, you know, and I feel like those are unfair judgments. So I like to ask the clinicians, you know, what's your one piece of advice to somebody that might be on the fence, or just is like full anti-therapy? Like,
totally.
What would be your advice?
Yeah. Well, for me, I went into therapy skeptical and had a negative experience. So I can totally see why someone would be hesitant, whether it's a negative experience or perception of it. But I think realizing that there's no pressure. Therapy is what you want it to be. I think we have this misconception that therapy is, I go in, we do the box breathing and breathe in for 4, hold for 4, whatever. It can be whatever you want it to be. And therapists are trained to have skills to tailor to you. So if you come in and you say, I really want to focus on this thing, My job is to say, cool, let's make that happen.
Yeah.
A lot of times my approach is, let's identify what your goal is, and my job is to help you feel confident moving towards that goal. Another thing is, people are worried that a therapist is going to say this is the right decision or this is the wrong thing. That is, you're your own person. You get to choose. The therapist is there. I like to say my job is to clear the mud. So you come in and we'll talk through things, but at the end of the day, you get to choose whether that's good for you to hear or not good for you to hear. In the end, that's always best. So if you're on the fence about therapy, just realize, come in, see if it works for you, chat with someone, recognize you're seeing someone to help you with your goals. So I'm not going to make you complete my goals. It's your goals. So come in, try it out, see how it works for you, and just realize that whatever it is, if there's something you want to work towards, you can always chat with someone on how to get there. And that's my dumbed down version of what therapy is.
No, I love that. And I love the non-judgmental approach. I think that's one thing people forget, is therapists are the least judgmental person, and they're the best secret keepers because they can't tell anybody. So it's great.
Yep.
So do you have openings right now? Are you accepting new clients?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've got openings.
Cool. Well, we always offer free 15-minute consults. So we appreciate you jumping on here and getting to know you a little bit better. And
absolutely.
Thank you.
Excited. Thank you.